Okay, here we go. This is going to be one of the most difficult types of problems. Okay, so what I have to do now is, or the reason that these are some of the more difficult, more complex problems is both of these equations are in standard form. Neither are already solved for an equation. Our job is still to find x and y. Okay, and so our first step changes a little bit. What we have to do is we have to take one of these equations and we have to solve it for one of the variables. So the second one just looks a little simpler to me. So I could choose to solve this for x, or I could choose to solve it for y. Okay, and then I'll plug it into this. Now, x is going to be easier because x is all alone. Okay, I would just have to add 2y to both sides and then I'd be able to sub it in. Now, I'm going to choose to do y though, because I want to show you A, that you can do either, and B, that if it's not easy, like an x all alone, what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to take x minus 2y equals 11, and my goal is going to be to get y by itself. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. And again, you can solve for x or you could solve for y. I'm just choosing y because I want to show you what it looks like for it to be a bit more difficult. So then I'm going to divide everything by -2. And I get y equals a negative divided by a negative is a positive. And really there's an invisible one there. And so what I end up having is 1/2 x. I'm just going to write that as 0.5x just to make it a little easier. And then a positive divided by a negative is a negative, and 11 divided by 2 is going to be 5.5. Okay, cool. So then I'm going to rewrite my problem. Okay, my problem is now -7x minus 2y equals -13, and the equivalent y equals 0.5x minus 5.5. Okay, so now I'm able to take this equation and I'm able to solve. Sorry, I've got a bunch of stuff on the desk. I'm able to solve my problem. Okay, so I kind of covered up that other stuff so we don't have to worry about it for a bit. So now I'm going to take all of this and I'm going to sub it in for y. This is really the same thing as problem number 2 at this point. But it started off different. Okay, so now I'm going to rewrite -7x minus 2. Oh, now I can write all of this in. Notice I put parentheses around it, and notice there's no y left. That's really important. Okay, and then I'm going to go through my list of things I do. So first, I'm going to distribute. Second, I'm going to combine like terms. Third, x is on one side. And then my last steps are going to be undoing. Okay. There's definitely distribution. It's right here. So I'm going to bring this down. And I'm going to focus on this right here. -2 times 0.5x. Don't hesitate to do it on the calculator. That's going to be -1x. -2 times -5.5. is going to be, and I'm just double checking because I don't want to make a mistake for you guys, it's going to be +11 equals -13. Okay. Done my distribution. Now I have to combine my like terms, and I have 2 I can combine here. And I get -8x plus 11 equals -13. X's are on one side, and now I'm going to undo. Subtract 11 from both sides. Divide both sides by -8. Negative divided by a negative is a positive, and 24 divided by 8 is 3. Awesome. Okay, so I've got 1/2 of my answer. Now I've got to use that to find my other one. Now it might be really tempting to put it in right here. My suggestion is always to go back to the very beginning, the first problems you were working with, because what if you made a mistake? Okay, so I go ahead and I use one of my original problems or equations, and I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to use this second one because it looks a little easier, and I'm going to put it in right here. So x minus 2y equals 11. And instead of x, I'm going to write 3. And now I've got to solve for y. I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides, and I get negative 2y equals 8. Divide both sides by negative 2, and I get y equals negative 4. Okay, so now I'm going to try zooming out a little bit. Let me see if it'll let me. Nope. I'm going to zoom out like this a little. Okay. So then if we look at this whole problem, too much. Okay, I see that my x equals this and my y equals this. So my answer equals 3, negative 4. Okay. Hope that helped, guys.